Maddie Soldiers, fire-breathing bitch queen reporting for duty. To put it plainly, I'm a bit of a mess right now. I'm very overtired. I have a busted wrist. I'm in the middle of exam season. I'm off to a concert in 3 hours. Some friends and I are gonna go see Mother tonight. Very excited. I burned myself just a little curling this piece of hair this morning, and I don't have half the books that are even on this list anymore. Also, I'm not wearing pants. Shh, don't tell anyone. My uploads have been inconsistent because I've had class and papers, and all of my energy is going towards fending off this existential crisis that I'm gonna be having. I'm hoping to put it off at least till Christmas. So, you know, I've been booked and busy. So I make my mediocre return to the internet with a wrap up for October and November. What day is it? I went through 2 massive reading slumps in October and November, yet I'm looking at this massive stack of books that I have sitting on my coffee table, and apparently I accomplished something. This is gonna be a long video, so without further ado, grab a drink, grab a snack, and buckle up for a It Got Cold So I Read Things reading wrap up. Let's start off with one that I finished in October that I was so excited to pick up. Warm, wonderful, gay existential crisis that is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. Like, this is a house full of ghosts, but this ain't no Luigi's Mansion. Wallace is a spirit who finds himself in Charon's tea shop, which is kind of a crossroads for the dead before they move on. A cafe full of ghosts and reapers finds this big found family as he works through his own life and his accomplishments, as well as kind of helping some of the other ghosts in the house and maybe falling in love with one of the reapers that runs the tea shop. From the first sentence description of Hugo, I am in love. I am head over heels. This is a beautiful black man with nice hands who likes tea and dead things. Like, man, what a guy. Now, obviously this book has a lot to do with death and passing on, but at the same time, it really explores the relief in death. Like, reading this book was just me emitting a very high-pitched sound for the majority of the pages. Also, not me crying on the bus in afternoon traffic while I finished this book. Hot tip, do not take this in public with you. Oh, this is such a wonderful story, and I can't wait to read literally anything else TJ Klune ever writes ever. Another book that just gave me all of the feelings that I don't have because I lent it to my friend, it was so good, and that is Light Between Uncommon Stars by Raika Aoki. This is a sci-fi contemporary genre blend that I got sent by Tor, so thank you guys very much. That centers around a Faustian soul type bargain between a very famous violinist and Katrina, who is a up-and-coming student, as well as an intergalactic donut shop and the people who run it. But see, here's the thing, when I picked this up, I was like, ooh, a fun, quirky, queer sci-fi, we love that. And then you open it up and you're like, oh, there's like real issues in this book. Okay, wow. It talks about queerness in a very real and open way. It talks about queer motherhood. It talks about immigration issues. I know Raika herself plays the violin, and the way that she talks about music is unlike anything I've ever heard before. It is reverent, it is magical, and there's so much inclusivity in this book, I'm gonna cry! However, it does have a fatal flaw, and that is it talks too much about delicious food. I need a freaking donut. This book is so good, I have a feeling my friend won't want to give it back. So Allie, I have my eye on you. You just moved and I know your new address. All right, up next is a very fun one, and that is a graphic novel, which is not something that I tend to go towards. I tend to find like actual novels my preferred form of media. That being said, I really enjoyed Woman World by Amanda Dhaliwal. This was sent to me by Indigo, so thanks Indigo, which is so fun because I used to work for them and now they work for me. Her first graphic novel, which was Cyclopedia Exotica, is a very fun satirical commentary book talking about a group of cyclopses to give commentary on our own society, and Woman World has a very similar tone and structure, which is a book that talks about what would happen if there were only women. It kind of goes through a scenario where men stopped being born and now it is a purely woman world. It pokes fun a lot at stereotypes of women and girls and puberty and like growing up into your own body, but also gives a good look into society of like how women connect with each other and interact and make decisions. This is incredibly funny. I would highly recommend it if you maybe need a gift for someone, you know, the feminist in your life, which should be everybody, so just buy everyone this book. Okay, next book is one that actually inspired me to make a whole new script for a new video that's gonna be coming out, I don't know when, and that is The Dark Rise by C.S. Paquette, which was sent to me by Fierce Reads. This is a bit of a Regency era magical twist on what would happen, you know, when the darkness was banished 1,000 years ago and is now slowly coming back. The 16-year-old dock worker Will being our chosen one who needs to battle it out against the dark. This book has multiple POVs and does a really good job of like slowly drawing you into the world. It's very Lord of the Rings, which I know is a major selling point for many people, including myself. It is a little basic. I find the writing structure is quite simple and short, and a lot of the characters are very clear character archetypes. But what I liked is that it took those and it kind of gave them a little twist. Like if I was 15, this book would have been my shit. But because I'm 26, I was like, this is okay. Which led me into thinking about how we need more younger YA because of how YA is trending so old now. I made a couple weeks ago. Go check that out. So this would be good for the younger teenager in your life that you want to get a book for. Next up is a book that you don't want to get the young teenager that in your life that you need a book for. This is for the older teenager in your life or the adult, because this was definitely on the older side of YA and I loved it. God damn, I love Margaret Owens, and Little Thieves fucking slapped. This was also sent to me by Fierce Reads. God, they are treating a girl right lately. Oh God, her world building is so freaking good. Like, is it possible to fall in love with so many characters at once? Yes. Little Thieves goes back to my Germanic linguistic roots as we follow a girl who is the goddaughter of the gods of death and fortune. Vanya has stolen the guise of a princess and has been trying to pull off a heist of the royal palace, but when she crosses the wrong dark god, she finds herself running out of time as she slowly turns into gemstones for her greed, but at the same time needs to avoid a nosy journalist who might blow her cover. This book was much more macabre and in-depth than most YAs. Like, I was reading it being like, oh, this is so weird, oh, this is so creepy, but like in the best way possible. The best way I can describe this book is that it simmers. Like, there's always tension simmering, magic is always just out of reach, ready to explode. I like that Vanya isn't that good of a person. I really love the low god magic. Also, we have 2 demisexual leads, which is really great. I love the way that they talk about that, about themselves to one another, and I think that is like very accessible for people that don't understand this. And this is very dumb, but the ex-horse girl in me is very happy with all of the ridiculous horse-related magical incidents that happen in this book. Margaret Owen freaking does it again. I'm so happy with this. And it's going on my shelf of honor. Next up is a book that I have complicated feelings towards because All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody and Christine Lynn Herman, which I was sent by Tor. Thank you guys so much for filling my villainous needs. Magical Hunger Games, but everybody's from District 1. You know when you open a book and you read the first line and you're just like, yes, this book is gonna be good. I'm ready. That's how I felt about this book. In the town of Ilvernath, there are 7 powerful magic families that every 20 years send up a tribute to battle to the death in a bloody arena called the Blood Veil, and the surviving member and their family then get to control magic for the next cycle. This book is bloody, it is gory, it is atmospheric. Like, we did not come here to fuck around. We are getting down to bloody business. Both of these authors do such a good job focusing in on the details. For example, all of the white rings are like different spells that you can wear and you have to recharge them. There are these magical flaming artifacts that fall from the sky to help the tributes, and the illusions of the arena are super trippy. My thing about it is that I didn't connect with all of the characters, which is, you know, I don't have to because there's so many, but at the same time, I wasn't rooting for anybody, and I felt like they should have stuck more with the like pure magic versus this like weird in-between magic reality kind of vibe. And you know, maybe this makes me a terrible person, but for as gory as this book was, I felt like there wasn't enough death in it. I said it, this is my villain origin story. Okay, my hands are getting sore, so we're gonna talk about a book that I don't have a physical copy of, and that is a Hades and Persephone retelling. That was The Dark Wife by whoever's on screen right now, one second. Sarah Deemer. So Sarah Deemer wrote a lesbian Hades and Persephone retelling, and I was hyped. And I will say, this was written very beautifully. It's definitely a very romantic book, both in the writing style and in the plotline. There's a surprising amount of stuff on gender and people using gender against you as a weapon, because specifically Hades is called Lord as an insult when really she is the Lady of Hell. That being said, I don't think it was specifically to like belittle a trans experience. It was just more like using it as a title and an underestimation. One thing I was kind of iffy on is that Hades does love her people, but they hate her, which is a kind of a swap. Usually it happens is like, oh, everybody loves everyone in Hades and everyone else thinks it's a terrible doom and gloom place, when really it's like a happy-go-lucky death fun castle under the earth. But there was a lot about like love and mercy and inner pain that I thought it was like quite lovely to read. Also, yes, men are shitty, confirmed. So this isn't necessarily at like the top of my list of Hades and Persephone retellings, but it's definitely not anywhere near the bottom. Oh boy, here's another book that I don't have a physical copy of. I just DNF'd it, so I took it back. And that is, unfortunately, When Night Breaks by Yanel Angelis. This is a sequel to I can do this. When something descends, where dreams descend. Made it. God. It's too late for this. Anyway, I adored this book about magical circuses and dark magic. I thought that the duo was a great dynamic duo. I thought Kalia was a really strong main character, but oh my god, this sequel I was slogging through, you guys. I'm so sorry, Yanel Angelis. I really wanted to like this. What I liked so much about the first one is that all these characters are interacting with one another, and in the sequel they're separated, and so they don't get the same interactions, and I felt like I was bored and kept like waiting for something to match up. I will say though, like the fantasticalness and like all the illusions and magic and stuff, oh god, I love mirror magic. That still slapped. So I unfortunately didn't finish this book, and I only feel a little bad about it. Okay, next is a book I do not feel bad about slandering in front of everybody, because I got sent King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair from Raincoast, which, Raincoast, y'all, you know, I love you. We're great. I love this relationship we have. This book is not it. We got some sexy vampires who are vaguely Russian. Scarlett St. Clair is the author of the smutty Hades and Persephone retelling that is Touch of Darkness, and when I heard that King of Battle and Blood was going to be a arranged marriage, assassination attempt, vampire king type of shenanigans, I was like, hello, yes, I want that, please. And our main character, Isolde, is the daughter of a human king who is sent into an arranged marriage with the king of vampires so that he will not ravage their lands, and of course, oh my god, we learn more about each other, wow, we have such chemistry, and then like, ooh, magic, and of course, we're gonna get a lot of sexy times. But the sex in this is confusing. Like, I couldn't ever picture what was happening. Like, oh, sorry, your arm is where? Okay, so if like her shoulders are there and his back is there and he's reaching around, but then she has her leg braced on that, what? And the feminism is so in your face that it's like, oh my god, I get it. She wears pants and isn't like other girls because she goes and fights things and men are assholes. Like, there's no subtlety to it. Being ruthless and being strong are not the same thing. Venn diagram is quite large, but they are not the same thing. Killing people doesn't get rid of all your problems. I'm sure it will, like, momentarily, but that is not a good way to long-term plan. I didn't like anybody in this book, so I wasn't rooting for anybody in this book. So, like, not for me. But then again, I know my friend on TikTok, Erin, of Erin's Archive, she loves this book. So, like, good for you, girl. I'm glad someone does. Okay, great. I'm zipping through this. My camera battery is at a full 31%. I think I can still do this before this shuts off. Okay, so I did a bunch of rereads this month because, again, I'm going through a mental crisis and needed a little bit of comfort. So one of the comfort books that I reread this month was Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. I rewatched the first episode of the TV show, and then my brain wouldn't let me focus on anything else until I had read this book again. We got angels, we got demons, we got end of the world apocalyptic shenanigans, which you know I love to read. If you still haven't watched the TV show, straight to jail. Oh man, rereading this with a 2021 lens, I'm like, this is a product of the time. Because we would not say some of the stuff that's in here today. So like 1990, big oof, you know? But at the same time, I flew through this in a day, and it was just good to kind of get me out of a reading slump and return me to, what does it say about me that I'm like, ah yes, the apocalypse, very comforting. Maybe it's because I feel like I over-control things in my own life, so I like seeing that like the end of the world can also be controlled. Hey, we're not gonna unpack that. These next 3 books I'm gonna put all together because I read them as audiobooks on the bus to work every morning. I'm happy to say that they are still one of my favorite series, and that is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Whenever it starts to get cold outside, I'm like, ancient Welsh kings. exactly the thing I need. Oh yeah, in case you guys didn't know, I got a new tattoo. Maybe I should have mentioned this at like the beginning of the video, but like whatever. Anyways, I got a very beautiful jackalope on my leg and his name is Glendower. I love him so much. I think he really fits in with my leg sleeve that we're gonna go for. All the magical creatures are going on my legs. Rereading these again is definitely weird because I realize that the writing maybe isn't as good as I remember it. Like there's so many info dumps. The first book's plot line is all over the place. Now listening to 3 of them back to back, you know, makes me realize that there are some things in here that maybe wouldn't be put in here if they were published today. Her relationship building and the way that she writes magic and like wanting is so visceral. I still get goosebumps whenever I listen to it. Her writing, oh my god, I would sell what's left of my soul to be able to feel like that all the time. I'm in the middle of listening to Raven King right now, so that'll probably be in my December wrap-up. And lastly is one of my all-time favorite things to read about, which is gays in space. So I got sent a copy of City of Shattered Light by Claire Wynne, the lovely author. She even signed it for me, thank you! Which is a sapphic cyberpunk adventure heist following 2 main characters, one of whom is an heiress to a major tech company of the galaxy, and the other one a bounty hunter who accidentally kidnaps her. This is a neon-soaked queer sci-fi where our 2 main characters need to shut down a malevolent AI who is actually in the brain of Az's sister. This book is bi panic in a nutshell, and it was really fun to read. I found it to be slightly predictable, and the pacing was a little fast, slow in places, but the bombasticness of that ending made up for anything negative I considered in the rest of the book. God damn. So thank you to the author for sending me a copy, and this is going on my queer sci-fi shelf right over there. Oh my god, I made it. I don't think that took too long. It was only like 45 minutes. Alright, not bad. Alright, yeah, go me. This is good. This means I have more time to write my sociology research essay. Please leave down below if you yourself have read any of these or you want to talk about them, you want to fangirl. Should I go back and finish When Night Breaks? I'm iffy about it. Honestly, I'm kind of excited over the fact that there's not a lot of books in December that I'm interested in getting that I don't already have. So that means I technically have like a free month and I'm gonna read so many books on my TBR pile. It's the little things for the holiday season, really. I get the week between Christmas and New Year's off from work, so I think for like a good half of those days, I'm just not gonna talk to anybody. I'm gonna sit on my couch and I'm just gonna read as many physical books as I possibly can. Okay, I gotta clean up all these books that are around me before I get changed and head out. So without further ado, you know where to click to like the video, you know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!